it is? I don't think so. So why do we teach it? Why do I force a kid to feel an idiot because he can't do integration of partial expressions when it's absolutely unnecessary for him? I don't know the answer to that. If he's good at it, I can explain it, because you'll know when you're right. You know, you don't know that in other humanities-based subjects very easily. You don't know when you've got it right. You don't feel that success like when x plus 3 times x plus 4, when you know you've got the answer. It's a good feeling. I mean, any maths teacher knows that. So it's a certainty of knowledge. You don't have certainty of knowledge in so many areas. But can that justify it? No. So I don't have that feeling. When I manage people to learn maths, I feel compromised. Yeah.
With the maths, you don't have to justify, it doesn't matter what subject you teach. You're not teaching the thing, you're teaching a level of knowledge, a skill that how to think, you're teaching how to think.
I am, yeah.
What your subject matter shouldn't matter. That's the bottom.
I would like to think that, but then I think, well, if I'm teaching analysis, why would I want to teach it about X's and Y's instead of people, or circumstances, or historical events, or things that have social and cultural relevance much more than an X and a Y? I don't know. Maybe I could. Maybe you can't do it anywhere else. I don't know. But if you can't, then there's a justification. But if it's just the analytical ability to see patterns, you could do this in economics or something, or politics or history. You don't have to do it in maths, and that's much more relevant, I would have thought. I don't know. I don't study those things, so I'm guessing. No, not really, because I'm just saying that this is a challenge for you. You have to feel from here on in that what you're doing by way of engaging people, until we get to the D's, engaging people and the content you're putting in front of them is good enough.
I would have thought that going over a bridge in your car relies on that person understanding.
Yeah.
Roads, for example, so there does have a social relevance, blah, blah, blah. So working with the kids will go that way.
Okay, you'd have to work only then with some children who are going to program the programmers. You know, that because once they've done it, I can just pick up a programmer, do a couple of stress points, put it in, put temperature and load against stress, and it'll plot me a best fitting curve it can find. So it will do it for me. I don't need to do it myself. So yeah, right, we need some people to be able to do that, but the question is how many? And is that justified putting it in year 11? I don't know. I really don't know the answer to the question. I just know that I felt compromised because I love this stuff. You know, I can do it. It's fun. I know when I'm right. Think I know when I'm right in educational research? No way. You don't know if you've got something right. You may be approximating what might be a construction of, can't say truth anymore, something useful. You don't know. So this is your dilemma. But from here on in, I am assuming that whatever you're teaching, it's good enough. And you'll have to just live with that. Yeah.
We have 3 or 4 or 5 different reading groups to cater to the abilities of the students.
Yes.
However, at secondary school, and I remember, I mean, I went to secondary school too, and I've got a son at secondary school now. It seems to be, and I could be wrong, but it seems to be they have the one text for every student in that class still to read in English, and have the same sorts of questions expected of each of those students, same essay requirements and things. And that is an issue, I feel, that we're sort of teaching students to do one thing at a lower level, and then something totally different is expected of them up through the schooling system. Now, I do know we have to have BCE or HSE and all of that sort of stuff at the end of the line somewhere, but I think curriculum is a bit of a concern.
Well, you should know that this is the debates, the discussions we've been having on occasions in this so-called think group, where you have people who are partly responsible for creating a system, finding it very hard to defend the system because everything's driven by year 11, 12, and it's a very difficult system to defend. And I teach year 7 maths. I don't teach year 7 maths at 5 levels.
But with that, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We have to, as primaries, try to group students according to their needs and teach them accordingly so they all do experience success. And you still do have to push them, even your lower kids, you've still got to keep pushing them. But it seems to stop at secondary school. And it seems to stop
And we could push it further. The last 30 years we've known about learning preferences. So why are some of them reading at all? They should be doing their maths through other means. And what I'm saying, you know, so you could take it much further. If we're going to deal with individual needs, I was involved in an advocacy project, right? I don't know if you know about that. It's a project where every teacher gets 8 to 10 kids at risk, usually kids at risk, but sometimes the whole school, and has a 10-minute discussion every 2 weeks. And you measure their learning preferences. And so if the kid doesn't learn by reading and analysing written words, but he can sing and he understands tunes, you'll get him to sing his homework. And you'll find his results will just skyrocket. Because you're no longer underlining things which just go straight through, he's singing them. Now, you might say, act them out. Draw them. Draw anchor diagrams. I once prepared a kid for an entire speech on Shakespeare with anchor diagrams. He could remember 1,000 of these things in sequence. I couldn't, but he could. So if he just drew 1,000 diagrams, he knew exactly what he's going to say next. Now, I can't do that because I don't learn that way. I learn through words. He doesn't. So, you know, we've got a long way to go still, but we are trying to personalise curriculum. But I'm making the assumption that whatever you are doing or whatever you're not doing, you have a right to manage the behaviour of kids who won't do it and prevent others from doing it. That means your curriculum's good enough. And I have some severe doubts about that. But I'm just putting it there because I feel that otherwise I'm not being honest. Okay, having said that, we can now set up expectations of behaviour so that I can teach my good enough curriculum and they can learn that good enough curriculum. And this is what I photographed off a wall, not very imaginative, but it got it. This is straight off a wall of I'm starting with the secondary school sort of things that I have photographed as I've gone around, just to show you how some people have dealt with this. Now, as I said to you, you can have it on the wall and it will make no difference if you haven't discussed it, if you don't refer to it, if it's not in your language. And that's what I found in most secondary schools I visited. And I think in generally most secondary schools, because it's hard, it'll take longer. It's a different kind of demand because you do have a different organisational structure. It's much harder to see it coming in unless it's across a school and the teachers are adequately prepared and they don't feel that this is their business in some cases. Some of these teachers feel, like me, that they teach maths. They don't teach democracy. So there's one, there's another one, there's another one. This will be up on the web, obviously. There's another one. Now, obviously, these are based around those, right? There's one. What do you think that means? Yeah, in terms of things we've been talking about, communal responsibility. It was a visual for communal responsibility. And if you know that the A's and B's are literary, linguistic learners generally, that's why they're A's and B's, C's and D's are generally kinesthetic and visual, of course you would have it in a visual form. You would not have it in words. Why would you? It doesn't resonate with the kids you most want to manage. So the challenge to you will be, how do you take from words to pictures? So that in the yard there is a picture in the yard which says everyone has a right to be safe all lunchtime. And everyone is obliged to see that people are safe all lunchtime. Everyone, not just me, not the teacher on yard duty, everybody, because they have a right. How do you get that into pictorial form? I'm going to ask you to do some of this sometime because I need to know how. I can't do it. I mean, I'm the last person you'd ask. Has any school got that? Anyone got, at their secondary school, not primary, I know primary do this, secondary, have they got pictures which say somehow people have a right to be safe or people have a right to learn, and not only is it your responsibility to do the right thing, but you have to encourage others? Has anyone got any of that in the secondary? Yeah, what do you got?